There are a total of 2 endings in the main story of Misao, good and bad ending, with the good ending leading to the truth mode, which expands on the story, providing an emotional ending. Hi folks, I'm R, your narrator. This video will contain spoilers. With that said, let's begin. I have already explained both stories of the main plot and the truth mode, which you can watch by hitting the cards above. I'm going to very quickly touch on important elements here, so if you have already watched those videos, you can skip ahead to the time indicated. Misao is a kind girl who goes missing for 3 months, who was consistently bullied and picked on by her classmates. It's revealed at the end that her murderer was no other than her teacher, Mr. Kurata, who everyone knows as the good-looking, kind teacher. The main character, Aki or Akito, who is the male clone of Aki, embark on a mission to free the vengeful soul of Misao, as she has casted a curse against the school and the people who did her wrong. After most of the students dying off, Aki is given the choice to kill between Mr. Kurata, whom she doesn't know yet to have killed Misao, or Tohma, the snobby, self-centered player who's very shallow and played around with Misao's emotions. At first, the clear choice might seem to be Tohma. After all, he had a part in harassing Misao as he played around with her emotions, treating her like a toy, while in fact, he didn't care much about her, which led to his other girl, Sayatomi, exposing Misao's love texts in school, embarrassing her to be made fun of. But after killing Tohma, it becomes clear that he was not the right choice, as Kurata was the killer. After killing Mr. Kurata, the good ending begins, unlocking the truth mode, which entails more information about the game and its characters. It turns out that Mr. Kurata abused his power as an authority figure, physically assaulting Misao, cutting her hands off, and then finally burying her. Kurata keeps Misao's hands as a trophy due to his obsession with hands. Keeping Misao's hands surprises Kurata as they don't show any signs of rotting, being fresh after 3 months. It's later explained by Onigawara. The curse gave Misao the ability to keep her body fresh even after death, as she had a strong will for living, a right she was stripped from by the cruel Mr. Kurata. In the truth mode, it's revealed why Kurata committed such horrendous acts, showing his perspective. Kurata as a teenager was unloved and unaccepted, with majority of his peers picking on him and bullying him. It shows that despite his kind and loving nature, he never got the same treatment. He tried helping an injured stray cat, which ends up dying, whom Kurata honored and buried. The same cat spirit accompanied Kurata in the afterlife, showing that his kindness in fact will be everlasting until the afterlife. That also is true with his misdeeds, as they will hunt him in the afterlife too. Kurata is then approached by a girl called Takano, the very first person who accepted Kurata and showed him respect. The person which presumably makes Kurata start having an obsession with hands, as she had very pretty hands in his perspective. Unfortunately, Kurata picks up the wrong signals, confiding in Takano that he loves her in a strange manner while holding her very tight. This creeps out Takano, who backs off and expresses the truth that she doesn't share the same emotions with Kurata. She only approached him because she felt bad for him. This escalates with Kurata having a meltdown and attacking Takano, crying to why nobody accepts him for who he truly is. Skipping ahead, Kurata grows up to a good-looking man. It's not clear if he had any plastic surgeries to achieve that, as he does mention that he changed his face in order to be accepted, as he didn't feel like he had good looks as a teenager. Soon, he feels more welcome and accepted as an adult, which temporarily makes him happy. But soon, the knowledge of being unaccepted for who he truly is kicks in, thinking that people only accept and like him for his good looks, a figurative mask that he's wearing. But they don't like him for who he truly is, for his personality. This idea keeps haunting him, which leads to the day Misao was killed. A socially awkward Kurata, who hasn't experienced love yet, tries to comfort Misao after she cries. She confides in him that her heart was broken, making Kurata share the same personal experience. Misao tells Kurata that he's kind, when he again picks up the wrong messages and starts getting too close for comfort to Misao. Misao, being creeped out, tries to run away, which makes Kurata have yet another breakdown, saying why no one accepts him for who he is, and that Misao told him that he's kind, something he desperately tries to hear from anyone, to be liked for his personality, clearly picking up the wrong signal, attacking her and physically assaulting her. The sheer intensity of the experience makes Misao faint. Then, to cover up all the evidence tracing back to him being a horrible person, a physical abuser, Kurata kills Misao and buries her. Before that, he makes sure to cut off her hands to keep as trophy, however. After his death, Kurata is stuck in a never-ending loop, stabbing the corpse of Misao, haunted by the idea that no one accepts nor loves him. This being his never-ending punishment, something that he hates himself for. Aki approaches him in the dark space and tells him that he's wrong and people like him for his personality and kindness. She then hugs him, which makes him sob uncontrollably and transforming back into his teenage form, displaying that he feels like he's being truly loved and accepted for who he truly is, taking his figurative mask finally off. Obviously, the crimes Kurata committed against Misao and Ayaka are unforgivable. He took the life of two innocent girls and made physical advances against one of them who was truly broken. His actions were absolutely despicable. But yet again, two things need to be considered here. Kurata already died, having his life taken away from him, and had to suffer for quite some time in the dark space, where the world of the ogre is, a presumable god that is both evil and good, who punishes people. Kurata was stuck with the victim and had to keep stabbing her, an action that he hated himself for, and he had to be stuck with the idea that he's alone, unloved, and unaccepted, now being a despicable killer. As Onigawara mentioned, presumably the ruler of that world, that the people who did Misao wrong suffered enough. Therefore, it's possible that Kurata suffered enough as well, as he was mentally broken too. But yet again, Onigawara gives the choice to Aki to decide whether these people should be absolved or not, and you, as the player, have the option to choose whether you want to absolve Kurata of his crimes or not, as it's completely optional. Someone who used to be good and had a good heart, but was stuck in the mental trauma that he's unloved, something that haunted him till his death from his teenagehood. someone who is now dead and stuck in a painful loop. Should he be absolved or not? Let me know what your decisions were when you played this game, or what you would choose now. The second thing to consider is that Misao's soul could only move on after purifying herself from hatred, grudge and obsession. She wouldn't truly move on, being stuck with the idea of punishment and revenge. As Aki encounters her at the end, she has transformed into a monster, a visible representation of her grudge. She only gets back to her normal caring self after she moves on and drops all the weight from her horrible experiences. Because hate and revenge doesn't only hurt the counterpart, it also massively hurts the person who possesses them. The bad ending begins if Aki chooses to kill Tohma instead of Kurata. After being accompanied by Mr. Kurata on the roof and observing the memory that Misao was killed by Kurata, Aki, in shock, not believing what had happened, tells Kurata that she won't say anything. She won't tell anyone. But a determined Kurata, who wants to keep his secrets and integrity, kills Aki, presumably throwing her down from the roof and possibly blaming it on the monsters if he ever gets confronted. This, unfortunately, becomes only the beginning of Kurata's series of murders. He is seen approaching a crying girl called Miho in the classroom, who confides in Kurata that she had a breakup with her friend. Kurata comforts her and reassures her that it'll be fine, accompanying her in a promise of taking her home. When the ominous music is heard, with the screen fading to black, insinuating that Kurata will kill this girl, but not before physically assaulting her. This unfortunately suggests that Kurata developed a taste for killing and assaulting after what happened to Misao and Ayaka, and after that, he became used to it, starting to continue a horrible path of being a serial killer, an unloved child in his mind who never got accepted, who now makes others experience the same with no one to stop or confront him. That's about it for this video. I'm now working on a video finally explaining the shared universe of Misao and Madfather, and what is the significance of the deity-like entity Onigawara, and presumably his little demons, Aki and Akito, who he presumably cloned thanks to Alfred. Stay tuned for this video by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell, not to miss out on it. It's been your host Star. Till the next video, have a fantastic day.